Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, student.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, student.
Morning, Miss.
Yes.
How are you today?
I'm fine. How about you, Miss?
I'm in the good shape, man.
I'm fine too. Okay, alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we can meeting online with me, Miss Firda, and my partner, Miss Asila. Today we will continue the material of prose. Yesterday it was explained what is prose. Do you still remember the definition of prose? Do you still remember definition of prose?
No, Miss.
Let's try Isma. Restart about explanation prose. Isma. Okay. I will restart about prose. Prose is a literary work in the form of a story that is conveyed using narrative. Prose writing combines monologue and dialogue, and in general, prose is divided into non-literary prose and literary prose. Non-literary prose is in the form of scientific writing, which include research, reports, papers, or articles. Literary prose is further divided into fiction prose and non-fiction prose. Fiction prose includes fairy tales, short stories, and novels, while non-fiction prose includes biographies, autobiographies, and essays. And next, furthermore, the main characteristic of prose is the use of words mentioned to rhyme and rhyme patterns. There are two types of prose. Number one, old prose, and number two, modern prose. What is old prose? Old prose is a literary work that is not influenced by Western literature or culture. Before people knew writing, the delivery of old prose was done orally. Some examples of old prose include saga. What is saga? The saga is originating from India and Arabic contains story of the lives of goddess, fairies, princess, and prince who have supernatural powers. Example, saga from Indonesia, Si Pitung, and Tale of the Poor. And next, history. What is history? History or tambo? History is one of the old forms of prose in which the content of the story is taken from a historical event. The stories told in history can be proven by fact. Example, History of Malay by Datuk Paduka or Tun Sri Lanang written in 1612. And number three, story. What about story? Story is story of person journey or voyage from one place. Example, the story of Abdullah journey to Kelantan, Abdullah story to Jeddah, and other. And number four, fairy tale. Fairy tale is an imaginary story. The development of fairy tales occurs in the old society. The story in fairy tales can still be applied to modern society. There are many kinds of fairy tales which are as follow fables. Fable is old story that characterize animal and symbol of moral teaching, or also known as animal stories. Example, mouse, deer with crocodile, mouse, deer with tiger, and others. Next, myths. Myth is story related to belief in an object or thing that is believed to have supernatural powers. Example, Nyai Roro Kidul, Ki Ageng Selo, fairy tales about eclipse, artificial tigers, kuntilanak ghost, and others. And next, legend is an old story that tells about the history of the occurrence of a place or region. Example, the legend of Banyuwangi, Tangkuban Perahu, and others. And then, next, saga. Saga is an old story related to history which tells the courage, heroes, and magic of a person. Example, Calon Arang, Kiyung Wanara, and others. Okay, next. My partner, time is yours.
If no one knows, let's see together. New prose from the new prose from is as follows. New prose is a prose composition that's emerged after being influenced by Western literature or culture. The one, romance. Romance is a new prose that tells the life on the main character with all it is up and down. In romance, the main character are often taught from childhood to adulthood or even death. And then next, number 2, novel. The novel comes from Italy, namely novella. Novel is a new form of prose that describes some of the most important, most interesting, and conflicting part of the main protagonist's life. Conflict or struggle for souls will change the fate of the perpetrator. If romance rely on idealism, novel on realism are usually shorter than romance and longer than short stories. For example, Evi Melia by Idrus, Galilea Family by Pramudia Anantatur, Hunting for the Layman Pramudia Anantatur Pilgrimage by Iwan Simatupang, Surabaya by Idrus. And then number 3, short stories. The short story is new form of prose that tells a small part of the life of the most important and most interesting of the perpetrators in the possibility on conflict or conflict. But does a change in the fate of the perpetrator, example of community rather by Rosihan Anwar. Like Bulb by Asrul Sani, Sitting Friend by Muhammad Qasim, Blurry Face by Tristo Sumarjo. The Collapse of our Surabi AA, Nevis. And then number 4, history. History or biography is a prose essay that contains the author own life experience or autobiography, or it could be the life experience of other from childhood and adulthood or even death. Example of Soeharto Village Children, Professor Dr. Andes B.J. Habibie, Ki Hajar Dewantara. And then number 5, critics. Critics is a work that describes the merit of a work by giving reason about the content and centering the criteria that are objective and judgmental. And then number 6, review. A review is a discussion or consideration or review of a work. Example, book, film, drama, and the content is descriptive so that reader know the work from various aspects, such as themes, plot, character, and then dialects. Repeatedly, with pleasure and suggestion about whether or not a work is read or enjoyed. And then number 7, essay. An essay is a review or cursory explanation of a problem based on the author personal view. The content can be live listen, reflection, or comment on culture, art, social phenomena, politik, drama, performance. Okay, let's try Novita Loka. Novita Loka. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Try to give an example of Indonesian novel that you like the most beside the one mentioned above.
The Angels of Heaven by the author Terelie.
Okay, next. What attracted you to want to read the novel?
The novel contains the struggle of an older sister with a different father to young to become successful people. They were just a strawberry farmer on a hill away from the hustle and bustle of the city. And finally, the older sister was able to make her younger siblings successful, even though she herself was unicated.
Okay, thank you, Novita Loka.
Nothing else to ask? No?
No, Miss.
If no, I close the meeting today. Enough of today. Hopefully, what we teach is useful. May your days be happy. See you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.